Welcome into another video, and it is power rankings time. We're going a day later, starting on Wednesday because of the trade deadline that happened yesterday. So this is all post-trade deadline. Sauce Gardner on the Colts, Quinnen Williams on the Cowboys, Rashid Shaheed on Seattle. So like I said, all post-trade deadline. As you can see here, I have 11 through 32 laid out for you. The Jets taking over as the worst team in football after losing Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams, but recouping all of those picks. So maybe not number 32 in terms of long-term vision here. I'd put them definitely much higher, having 5 first-round picks over the next 2 years. But as I see it right now, worst team in football. I don't know if they're going to win another game. Maybe their best chance this week with the Cleveland Browns. Few shifts in here. I have Baltimore jumping up into 11. They're right there on the brink of top 10. Trust me. They arguably should be top 10, but we're going to leave them on the brink still for one more week. Minnesota jumping up. I have the Bears staying the same because it wasn't a beautiful win versus Cincinnati Bengals, but a win is a win. Didn't have them really moving much, neither with the Steelers or the 49ers. But Minnesota jumping up, Jaguars jumping up, Panthers jumping up, Cowboys falling, Cardinals staying, I think, the same. Washington taking a big spill now that they're going to be without Jaden Daniels for the foreseeable future. So let's go ahead and get into what you guys are waiting for, and that is 1 through 10. We're going to kick it off with the number 10 team, and that's the Green Bay Packers, probably coming off of their worst loss in the Matt LaFleur era. Now, maybe not their most impactful loss, but their worst loss. 13.5-point favorites at home against the Carolina Panthers. And it's kind of hopefully a wake-up call for this team. Honestly, you have the Super Bowl, the defending Super Bowl champions coming into your house, Monday Night Football, prime time, and you know they're coming off the bye week. A.J. Brown is healthy. Packers are going to be hungry, yes, but if they lose to the Eagles, which is very impactful because this is two teams that could be battling for the number 1 seed, home field advantage, it's not going to look pretty. And the NFC North is a pretty tight race right now. Packers are 5-2-1, Lions 5-3, Bears 5-3, Minnesota 4-4, I believe. So there's no time to dick around for Green Bay if they want to win this division this year. I knew that tie was going to help them in some way, just because it did help them in 2013. I remember that vividly. Let's go ahead and move on to my number 9 team, New England Patriots. Not going down, not going up. Wasn't a pretty win. I was kind of expecting them to maybe put a little bit more of a beat down on the Falcons. They came back, kind of made it a tight game, only lost by 1 point, but Patriots still balling out. Defense is still top tier. Vrabel has them guys moving. Drake May, 2 touchdowns, 260 yards. He's still playing at an MVP level despite the interception, but that happens in the NFL. It happens when you're playing quarterback, and I'm looking at their schedule. I don't see how this team doesn't win 12 games. I know they got like the Jets. I think they got the Jets twice. Dolphins, Bengals, Giants mixed in there. That's 5 games right there you should win. They're going to have to play Buffalo again. That's going to be probably the most intriguing matchup in terms of division, who's going to come out on top to the end of the wire, because the Patriots, easy schedule, very easy schedule. Number 8, we've got their highest ranking so far, the Seattle Seahawks. And man, Sam Darnold is a baller, dude. He is so back. With Clint Kubiak, I mean, JSN, they get Rashid Shaheed. I love that addition for them. He's going to extend the field. JSN, he's a guy who can beat you all 3 levels right off the line of scrimmage. He's a nasty route runner. But like I said, all 3 levels, he can beat you. And then Rashid Shaheed, he's just going to be going, baby. And Torrey Horton stepping up as well, a solid running back duo. This team is balling. And Mike McDonald has that defense moving. I mean, I know Daniels got hurt, but up to that point, they'd only allowed 7 points for the entire game. It was like, 7 minutes left in the 4th quarter, and they had Washington's offense in absolute check. Their defense is so good. I mean, when you have Tariq Woolen rotating in, I know that he's had his struggles this season, but regardless, that's not an everyday starter for you guys, every play guy in your secondary. You just know the defense is running at that rate. Let's go ahead and move into my number 7 team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Off the bye week, so didn't really boost them up. I believe I had them at 7 last week, keeping them at 7 this week. And we're going to get to know a lot about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this weekend, or at least over the next course of the next 3 weeks. Patriots, huge matchup. 7-2 Patriots coming into Tampa Bay, going to probably be their biggest test since Seattle. It's probably going to be New England's biggest test since Buffalo. So I'm super excited about this matchup. But after that, for the Buccaneers, you got the Bills, and you got to go to Buffalo, and you got the Rams, and you got to go to LA. We are going to get to know a lot about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the course of the next 3 weeks. If they can go 2-1 in that stretch, I do think that this team has a chance to come out of the NFC this year. The Rams have been my team to come out of the NFC all year. They're playing on phenomenal football, but Tampa Bay could easily find themselves in that mix if they can find a way to go 2-1 over that stretch. Let's go ahead and wrap it up with my number 6 team. That's the Detroit Lions. Probably their ugliest loss of the season, if you ask me. You know, the Chiefs game was pretty bad, but the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Packers game week 1 was pretty rough, but they were in Lambeau, and Packers had all the hype going into it at home. Vikings, and this is not to discredit anything about the Minnesota Vikings, but I just don't think they're as good as the Packers or the Chiefs, and the Lions were at home. They were 9-point favorites. Historically speaking, they have been crushing Minnesota. I couldn't tell you the last time they lost to Minnesota, but here we are. Brian Flores called a hell of a game. J.J. McCarthy, I still have my reserves about McCarthy. I still have my doubts about McCarthy, but this is the one thing I will say about McCarthy. He's a football player. The guy does know how to win, and he knows how to step up in big moments. You know, he's never too high, never too low. He has that to him. You know, I will say that. I still think there's a lot that he has to work on mechanics-wise. All of that. His pocket presence seems to be really good. I got to diving in the tape this week on him, and I thought he looked like a pro in the pocket. He really did, but there's still a lot that he needs to work on. It's just reps. But when you have that going for you, like just that football player mentality, you don't, the moment's never too big for you. You make plays when you need to make plays. That's just what football players do. That's going to be huge for his development, because I do think Kevin O'Connell can get him to the point where he's playing football, playing quarterback at a high level. I do think he can get to that point. And this is a guy who didn't have to do a whole lot at Michigan. Wasn't asked a whole lot of him at Michigan. And I just think this guy needs reps on reps on reps. And it's good that he's finally getting them. He's good that he's healthy. Minnesota, I'm not trying to discredit them in any way, but in my opinion, Lions shouldn't have lost that one. I just ranted about the Vikings for some reason when talking about the Lions, but bad loss for the Lions. Good thing that they have, who do they got coming up here? Who do I have written down for them? Oh, Commanders. Yeah. Talk about a get right game, boys. Talk about a get right game. The old, slow, and beaten up Commanders. Yeah. That should get Detroit right back on track. Let's go ahead and get to my number 5 team. Dropping down a little bit after probably their ugliest loss of the season, only their second loss of the season, but their ugliest one. That is the Indianapolis Colts, but a little boost for getting Sauce Gardner, revamping that secondary. Now, I have my reserves about the trade. I do think that 2 first-round picks and A.D. Mitchell is quite the price tag for a cornerback. If you want my honest opinion, Michael Parsons just went for 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark back in August, and I don't think that the impact there is huge, and I kind of have my reservations about going all in on Daniel Jones. But regardless, Sauce Gardner's on the team now. He boosts their secondary up. Defense has been balling this year. Offense is still elite on all levels, top 10 in EPA per play, EPA per pass. The run game is electric. Their defense is also having a really good season. So they have every right to still be in the top 5. They're still 7-2. Steelers was an ugly loss, but they only lost by 7 points with 6 turnovers. It's very, very, very hard to lose by 7 points when you have 6 turnovers. Number 4, I got the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm very hesitant about this one because they had a couple of ugly losses where I boosted them outside of the top 5, but I had a few teams, the Packers and the Lions had some really bad losses this week. They get the bye week. They get A.J. Brown back. I do think that this Eagles team now is going to start finding their footing. And, the big tell is going to be Monday night against the Packers. That's when we're really going to get to know what this team is made of. This is probably, in my opinion, their biggest test yet this season. I'd have to go back and, or other than the Rams, you know how high I am on Los Angeles, but probably their biggest test yet this year. And if they can go into Green Bay, into Lambeau Field, and knock them off and get a W, this team is on the right track, baby. Team is on the right track. Packers are going to be hungry, though. Going to be hungry. Number 3, knocking down from my number 1 spot after their loss to the Buffalo Bills. This is the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I know they're out of the playoff picture in the AFC West. I do not care. I did say that I needed to be absolutely proven wrong for me to knock them out of my top 5 again. It's still the Chiefs. They're still like number 2 in EPA per play, EPA per pass. Patrick Mahomes is still playing at an elite level. Had a really, really poor game against the Buffalo Bills. So we know he's not Superman, at least. But regardless, with how piss poor he played and they still lost by 7, had a chance to win it at the end there. It's still a damn good team. I'm not going to, they got the bye week coming up. Be able to get right, get healthy, get all cleaned up, work on some things, make some adjustments as they head into the second half. But the division's getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand. You're getting further and further away from that. You have 2 games against Denver. You still have a game against LA and a game against the Raiders. But those 2 games against Denver, those are going to be big, big, big games because Denver right now is in the driver's seat. Say all you want about how they're playing. They're in the driver's seat. They split with the Chiefs. They can probably win this division. But they are in the driver's seat. I still want to lean Kansas City, but that was a big loss for them. They probably got to win, I would say 6 of their remaining, what do they got left? 6 of the remaining 8, 7 of the remaining 8. It's very possible with that team. Let's go and move on to my number 2 team, and that's the Los Angeles Rams. I think I've already had them at 2 this year, so I don't think this is their highest ranking yet, but I mean, they just get better. Yeah, I mean, they just get better and better every week. Matthew Stafford gets better and better every single week that he plays football. He is so good. I was saying like 2 weeks ago, I think Mahomes is my MVP. Matt Stafford might be my MVP right now. This is a guy who I think is going to go down as one of the most underrated players of our generation. And I think as the years go on and maybe we get into like 2 or 3 years without him after a few seasons when he retires, I think we're going to grow to appreciate him more. This is a guy who I think if they can get another ring, maybe a stretch, but if he can walk out with an MVP this year and at least another deep playoff run, because they've stacked these playoff runs year after year after year, this is a guy who I think could find himself in the Hall of Fame. He's got the numbers to do so. He's got a Super Bowl ring. I think this is a guy who could find himself in the Hall of Fame one day. His talent, elite. You could argue he is one of the top 10 to 15 most talented players to ever play the game. He is an elite talent. It just, as the years go on, wiser. He's 37 years old doing no-look digs 30 yards down the field, 20 yards down the field. Like, who the fuck is attempting that shit? That's like prime 27-year-old Mahomes. Even like now, 30-year-old Mahomes. That's the shit that he's pulling off. This dude's 37. No-looking dig routes. He's looking at the out route. Boom. Dig coming across the middle. Just, here you go. Money. On fucking piss missile, frozen rope, no problem. Guy is elite. Their defense is elite. I'm so happy that I called the fucking Rams this year and that I've been on them from the jump because they are so good. Number 1 team in football, the Buffalo Bills. They got the bye week to get it right. Got to loosen themselves up with the Panthers before they played the Kansas City Chiefs and got the job done against who I had as the number 1 team just last week. Still think this is the team that could finally do it, finally get over that hump and win that Super Bowl this year. My prediction in the preseason to win the Super Bowl is the team I still think can get it done. But we've seen them beat the Chiefs before in the regular season, and we've seen them lose to Kansas City in the postseason. There's not much to say about this. You got to get the job done. This is the year you got to do it. He's like, I think 4-1 in the regular season against Mahomes, against the Chiefs. This is the year you got to do it, man. This is the year you got to do it. They're 5-4 right now. They're not playing the best football that they've probably played in a long time. This is the year you have to go out there and beat the Chiefs in January. Enough said. There you go. And there you have it. 1 through 32. 2 teams in the same division. 2 teams in the same state. Technically. Jets play in Jersey. But Buffalo Jets 1-32, and then the rest in between. Go take a look at it, screenshot it, send it to your friends. Comment down below who you would change, and let me know how I did this week. We'll see you guys next week with plenty more ball to talk. Peace.